And it's very rare that you get so many resounding answers within a single series, right? And that certainly applies to the Sixers. We'll get to the Nets. We'll get to the Bucks coming up next segment. But we'll start with Philly and the complete meltdown, the complete mess. And they've got problems. Everywhere you look, they've got problems. The obvious one is Ben Williams. The next obvious one is Doc Rivers. The least obvious one is the player who's receiving mostly platitudes, but still needs to tweak a few things for my taste, and that's Joel Embiid, who, again, in terms of order of culpability, Joel Embiid is planets apart from the other two, most notably Ben Simmons. Wow. We tried to tell you all year. That it is just, as much as I want to start with Ben, and I've got so much sound I've got to play, I'm almost like I'm struggling. I don't know where to go first, but I will eventually get to Ben. This is in a roundabout way about Ben. But this actually is first about Doc Rivers. Doc Rivers failed this year because Doc Rivers was brought in here to have, number one, the 76ers take the next step. They didn't do that. And, as important and certainly tied into that would be the progression on the part of Ben Simmons. You have a former point guard, a terrific player, not a Hall of Famer, not an old-timer, but Doc could play. He was with my Knicks, got hurt, but he was really good at Atlanta for the most part. That's where he really, made his money and made his name. Doc Rivers was a player. Doc Rivers has respect from players, although not everybody. Some former players have been, unfortunately, lashing out on social media. But Doc Rivers failed to do the one thing that we have been imploring the 76ers to try to do forever. I want to play this for you. So back on May 26th, we had Scott O'Neal on the show. Love Scott. Full disclosure, I knew Scott when he was running the Knicks. Big fan, great guy, smart guy, good dude, and very good at his job. But we had him on the show in late May, and we were talking about the 76ers. And, even at this point, it was obvious. And, it was a pretty lengthy exchange, but this was a foreshadow of what I certainly expected to come to fruition. Check this out, May 26th here on Tiki and Tierney. Everybody knows that Ben Simmons, he's a beast, 1 through 5. We get it. Sick handle, great court vision. Where are the Sixers, behind the scenes, trying to untap a three-point shot?
Why?
Because he'll become one of the five best players in the game.
I've watched great players my whole life. Jason Kidd's one of my favorite players of all time. He didn't develop a three until very late in his career. We're looking for transformational, once-in-a-generation freak players like Ben Simmons. He is 6'10", 260, built like a Mack truck, can guard 1 to 5. His teammates love playing with him. You know why? Because he gets some open looks.
I get it.
You know what the teams have to do? They all have to collapse on him.
Yeah.
So I hear you. His shot will come. Look at the players that have come into this league. Shots come over time with repetition. He will be fine. I don't want to focus on what he can't do. I want to focus on what he can do.
Listen,
and that kid is elite. Elite.
I get where you're coming from, but it's a different NBA. If he's a top 10, top 12 player.
He was all NBA third team without shooting outside the key.
Yeah, but Scott, if he gets a three, he's winning multiple MVPs.
Sure. And hopefully he does.
Yeah.
But I think you're saying he doesn't care about it.
No, it's an evolution. The process. And I think everybody wants a 5-tool player. I was like, there aren't any 5-tool players in this league except for LeBron James. So, we've got to focus on what we have.
I think there's more than LeBron James is a 5-tool player. I understand his point there. Everybody has some sort of a weakness to an extent. I think he's selling a little bit of short, little short in terms of totality, those kind of players who have that. But even the Jason Kidd, and I said this right after Scott, right after we hung up with Scott. Again, big fan, but obviously disagreed with a lot of the philosophies within the organization, how they view Ben Simmons and what they're trying to do to make him better. The Jason Kidd comparison, while he wasn't a very good shooter, he at least took a lot of shots. He was a threat, which obviously is important for spacing. I'm looking at it right now. Jason Kidd's first 5 years, 27%, 34%, 37%, 32%, 40%, and then 32%. But in terms of attempts per game from behind the arc, 3.3, 4.9, 3.0, 3.0, 3.0. So he was at least taking them. I mean, this was crazy. When you have 3.5 minutes to go in a Game 7 in the fourth quarter, and you spin by Gallinari, as he did so effortlessly, right? And you are literally 1.5 feet away from the rim, and, you know, that noted shot blocker, that defensive demon, Trae Young, at 6'1", $169 is waiting for you, and you pass the ball? We are at a point now where it is in complete disrepair. He is completely broken. He's terrified that he's going to get fouled and isolated on the free throw line. And we'll get to Giannis. At least Giannis takes the shot. Like, this has infiltrated the deepest part of Joel Embiid's, of Ben Simmons' athletic mind, and it has now become. It's always been a problem. Now it has become an abyss. And now it's become, I believe, a situation where you absolutely have to trade Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons cannot start next season on the 76. And don't tell me, and I'm sure I'll get this from some of you, well, you got to build up his nonsense. If you wait too long to build up his trade value, instead of getting, 80 cents on the dollar, if this nonsense continues and the hole grows, and it might, you're getting 66 cents on the dollar. Got to trade him. Now, the other reason why you have to trade him, all right, the three most important people in the 76ers organization, in I guess in order, would be Embiid. I would say Doc to tap into Simmons, but that didn't happen. Simmons, 2, and Doc. So if you are fundamentally against trading Ben, he's young. Oh, it's going to come. There's been so many players who have started out slowly with a deficit in their game. Yes, a deficit is one thing. The inability to hit a curveball, the inability to knock down consistent three-point shots, the inability, like Sergio Garcia, to hit clutch putts for a while. Those are deficiencies within one's game. What has happened now, it is a complete psychological aversion to even attempting to do one aspect of your job that is absolutely required to succeed. So he's got to go. That's it. If I'm running the 76ers, if I'm Scott O'Neal, if I'm ownership, if I'm the coach, gone. Can't work with it. Afraid to shoot layups in Game 7, got to go. Got to go. He could be somebody else's reclamation project, and he very well might find a way to tap into those incredibly, what I once thought was transcendent talents, but I can't say that anymore when you're afraid to shoot a layup. Or you shoot 34% from the free throw line. Let me give you, how about this number, right? In the history of the NBA, there have been some bricklayers in the NBA. I mean, guys who have played deep into the finals, right? Deep into the season. Guys who just simply could not shoot free throws. One of whom was Will Chamberlain, the other, and many others, the other Shaq, right? 34% free throw percentage on 70 or more attempts in the playoffs. The absolute worst in the history of the NBA. That's what your point guard just delivered. Got to go. Can't risk it. You've got too many factors now. And let's go through this point by point. Number one, he regressed. Number two, the coach you brought in to Brett Brown, he's not the guy. All right, and now there's two aspects here. What did Doc do for Ben Simmons? The answer is nothing. What did Doc Rivers do for the Sixers? The answer is nothing. Because he got so thoroughly outcoached in this series, and specifically in Game 7, it was laughably embarrassing. It was embarrassing, right? So all these checkpoints. Ben Simmons regressed. The head coach failed to tap into these talents. Now you have to hear this. Now the other, floating, star in the solar system, Joel Embiid, flat out said the game turned when my co-star didn't want to shoot a layup. Listen, it's not as if I look at my team and I've got more passion for my team and dissecting this stuff because I care more. No, I am transferring. How would I feel right now as a 76er fan who was just subjected to this slop? Now, We told you, and I was all over the Hawks in this series. I loved them against Philly. We told you collectively, both me and Teak, this thing was going deep. We're not surprised it was competitive. I mean, and what Herter did, and, obviously Trae Young, missed a lot of shots, but Trae Young is a beast, and, Gallinari's had some moments, and Collins has some moments, Capella's a problem, and stuff. Like, they're very well coached. Atlanta is good. We are not surprised at all that the Hawks won the series. But if I'm a Sixers fan, I'm sitting there saying, how the hell do I trust this guy? Like, he needs reconstructive surgery. That's what he needs. It's not a little tweak. It's not low. Well, let's augment this game just a tick this summer. This thing's got to be systematically broken down, reduced to rubble, because he's terrified to shoot. Like, I can't impress this upon you more. He is afraid to shoot. First, he was afraid to shoot a three, incredibly reluctant to do that. All right. Then it seeped into the free throw line, and then he stopped doing things. He didn't want to put himself at the free throw line, and then he just stopped shooting altogether. In 5 of the 7 games, he didn't take a shot in the fourth quarter. How the hell can you be a superstar? Don't give me this stuff. Oh, the assists. Oh, the rebounds. First of all, I mean, there's no centers anymore, so all guards are getting rebounds, all right? And Ben Simmons brings a lot of good things to the table, but not enough, right, to offset his malfunction as a basketball player. His malfunction. Again, at first it was this odd reticence to shoot. Now it's a complete and utter malfunction, all right? So, we heard from the superstar, the franchise hub. Game turned when my teammate didn't shoot a layup. Not wrong. You don't have to experience something to be able to give a definitive answer. Let me give you a real-life example. You're sitting there with your buddy, right? Or your dad, or whomever you have great confidence in to confide whatever, like real important things, right? And you're going to propose to your girlfriend. And your dad or your uncle, your best buddy says, man, you're really ready for marriage, huh? You really love her. Yeah, I do. I'm ready for marriage. Well, how the hell do you know? You've never been married. But you know that you love her. And you know that it will figure itself out, right? You don't have... I mean, the answer that he gave was, that's all you need to know. I don't really need to contextualize it, but I feel like for some I might have to. When you are asked directly, can your young point guard, is he good enough to be the point guard on a championship team, and he takes a pass and in essence says no, because if you don't say yes, you say no. Do you love her? I don't know. That's a no. Do you want to marry her? That's a no. That's a no. That's not a yes, Hey, can you afford this car? Yes or no? Can you afford this house? Yeah, we can swing this. We can swing this. Yeah, we have 20% down payment. Look at the mortgage. We got this nutty. Yep, we can do this. Yes. It's either yes or no. I mean, you didn't buy the house yet, but you know whether or not you can swing it. Thanks for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe, and don't forget to hit that bell to be notified when we drop fresh content.